What is going on, Cultiv8 family? I hope you are all having a great week wherever it is that you're listening to this from. So last week's episode on body image had such an amazing response to it. I'm so glad that you all enjoyed it, and so many interesting conversations came from it last week, and so many of you said that it was refreshing and it was helpful and it giving you a lot of food for thought. So I'm actually back with a more relevant topic this week, and it's something that I've actually found has come up a lot in my client check-ins as well. So I thought it would be cool to dip into body image during the summer and how we all feel about summer bodies. Because it's getting warm, and that means that we are starting to want to wear less clothes and maybe more swimwear. It also means we might be spending time on holidays, around pools, on beaches, and this can lead to a really self-conscious time for a lot of people, myself absolutely included. And leading up into the hotter months, we start getting a lot of adverts for like summer shred programs or beach body ready programs, and people will do a lot to cash in on vulnerabilities and put pressure on people to look a certain way. A lot of the time, if you go to work, the chat turns to losing weight for holidays or to look hot on the beach. And we've only just gotten over the weight loss chat post-Christmas, for fuck's sake. And here we are again. Another occasion where people push thinness as something that we need to have for summer. So today we're going to get into the discourse around summer bodies, how we might end up comparing ourselves to others negatively, how we feel about our old summer clothes and if they maybe don't fit us anymore, falling into that mindset that we might need to actually change our body for summer, and feeling self-conscious amongst friends, and lastly, setting the intention of how we're going to show up for ourselves this summer. For those of you that might want some support with your fitness and nutrition this summer, I will absolutely not be doing any sort of summer shred, but I would absolutely love to help you navigate your fitness and nutrition and feel amazing in your body on your terms, with no diet culture, with no comparison to other people, just good coaching and a good coaching community. So if that sounds like your vibe, just click the little form link in the show notes, tell me a little bit about yourself, and then I'll get back to you and let you know if I can help you. So let's get into it. What is your wardrobe looking like right now? How are you feeling about the summer clothes that you might want to dig out and wear this year? I really want to normalize old summer clothes not fitting, being too big or being too small. It happens to all of us because our bodies change based on our lifestyle and our environment. And I often have a lot of clients that give themselves a hard time because they may have gained weight and no longer fit into the same summer clothes that they wore last year. And that causes them quite a pinch point to then think, well, I need to change my body to how it was back before to fit into those clothes. But not fitting into the same clothes a year on definitely isn't a negative or an issue. It's definitely valid to feel annoyed or maybe frustrated about it. But the chances are in a year, a lot has changed for us, and it's a long time for us to maintain the same body if we're not necessarily maintaining the same lifestyle and environment. And I think for me, every time I had to dig out like a swimsuit or a bathing suit or anything that I would really hate wearing and avoid at all costs, and then put it on and realize it was then too small, I would then spend a huge amount of time berating myself, deciding that I needed to fix myself and fit into those clothes again, when really I should have just chucked them out and bought something that fitted because I would have felt much comfortable in it. Now, if anything I'm saying here is resonating, the question I want to ask is, what are you going to do with those summer clothes if they don't fit? Are you going to hold on to them, give yourself a hard time and not buy anymore? Which means that every time you want to socialize or go out in the hot weather, you're then limited to either clothes that are too warm, clothes that don't fit, or clothes that you don't feel good in. They feel too tight or they feel too loose. And what can then happen if you do hold on to those summer clothes is you can associate those non-fitting clothes as a negative reminder that your body has changed, when really bodies changing is just a part of life. Our weight fluctuates, our body composition fluctuates, and it always will. And the thing about clothes is you can always get more. And I don't necessarily mean you can always spend a ton of money on clothes, We have thrift shops, charity shops, Vinted, Depop, local community clothes swaps. Although fast fashion is a really shitty part of our world, we have more availability than ever to get secondhand clothing pretty easily. So when I say you can always get more, I don't mean just going out and spending a ton of money, because a lot of us don't have that option. So if you are facing a wardrobe full of clothes that no longer fit due to weight loss, weight gain, hormonal changes due to medication, maybe transition related changes, my body composition is completely different. 6 months on low dose testosterone, nothing fits me the same at all. So I'm definitely having a time of this year for sure. I really want you to consider letting go of those summer clothes if they don't fit you and they're not serving you. Make 2 piles, a sell pile and a donate pile. Get them sold, get them donated, then invest in a few pieces of summer clothing that make you feel really good, that make you feel like yourself, and that fit you properly. Because you deserve that, and you deserve to feel good. We all do. We don't want to spend time obsessing over fitting into them and changing your body to fit into those clothes. Because regardless of any body composition goals, you deserve to feel good in whatever you are wearing right now, regardless of your body. And I think we can all agree that everyone deserves that, including you. Yes, you, if you're listening. You will find that once you buy clothes that fit from a sensory perspective, a mental and a physical perspective, you will feel so much better in your body. And I was a person that would refuse to buy clothes in a bigger size. For so long, I think I spoke on the podcast last week, I refused to buy band shirts that were bigger than a youth large, because when I was a teenager, that's what I wore. So why should I be not wearing that as a 20-year-old? Which is bonkers when you think about it. But in later life, when I just started buying clothes in bigger sizes that fit me, the confidence it gave me for things fitting well was absolutely wild. And I wasn't thinking about my body composition or how lean I was. I was purely just thinking that I felt good and I felt a bit more confident when my clothes fit and felt good on my body. So let's use summer clothes not fitting as an opportunity to buy something that you've always wanted, no matter the size, something that makes you feel euphoric and like yourself. Don't hold on to those old summer clothes. There is absolutely no point. And if you're going to continue to berate yourself about them, it's not going to do great things for your body image and for your mental well-being. Now, as it gets hotter, there's a lot more social occasions. You might go on holidays or go to festivals with your mates. You might even just go on hikes or go to the beach. There might be times where you find yourself comparing you and your body to how all of your friends and family look. And that might bring a lot of negative mental chatter that makes you feel inferior or bad about your body. I know I felt like that a lot at the peak of my eating disorder, especially on stage when I was on tour. I would compare myself to all the other band members I was on tour with constantly, and it would really eat me up. And it would also affect how I showed up on stage and how I presented myself to people. I would be really shy, really, really anxious, and I would be almost scared to express myself, which as any sort of creative person is really strange, I guess. And it might be that you have a circle of friends or family that often comment on their own body, and they use words like fat in a negative way, or they tug at parts of their body that they, in inverted commas, need to change. And when you look at them, you compare them to you and you think, well, if they're saying that about them, that must mean that I'm worse or I need to do more than they do. And this isn't easy, because we're not all necessarily going to have a friend or family group that won't have at least one person that talks like that hones in on the weight loss chat before holiday. And sometimes you might not want to shut it down. You might not feel comfortable doing that. So today we're not going to talk about that, because if you are in one of those situations and you feel confident to say, let's not put all our self-worth into our bodies being lean for summer, that's cool. And if you feel good to approach friends and family like that, hell yeah. But also, if that doesn't make you feel good, we shouldn't have to call out everything in that sense. We can just allow it to pass. But how can we approach this stuff so it doesn't play on our minds too much? Because right now there might be people in your life that are trying to get shredded for summer, or they're starting some new diet, or they're banging on about how they have to look amazing by the time they go on holiday. And that can just make us feel a bit shit. Now, the first thing that we maybe need to dig into here is if your reaction to summer clothes or dieting chat or weight loss chat amongst friends or family, if you think your body needs to change or be fixed to fit into those clothes, to be leaner for a holiday, for the most part, it's your mindset that probably really needs to change. And that's maybe not easy to hear. I had a client say to me the other day that they started to compare themselves to someone else, and then they stopped themselves and realized it wasn't their body that needed to change, it was their mind. And I thought that was a pretty powerful thing, because when we compare ourselves to other people, we're thinking, well, we need to look like that, or we need to look less like that, or more like that, or as close to that as possible. And that's not doing anything for anyone of any body size or composition. So actually catching yourself on this and being like, I don't need to change my body, I need to change my mindset about comparing myself. And I thought that was a really cool way to talk about this. Let's actually question your motives about how this stuff makes you feel. Why would someone need to be leaner for summer? What is the actual reason for wanting that? Do people want to feel lean, or do they actually, when we dig into it, want to feel confident and comfortable? Because you could get really lean and still not feel confident and comfortable. I can tell you that firsthand, because that was me at some point. Now, the questions to ask yourself here are, do you want to change for other people, or are you wanting to change for yourself? Because body composition goals are absolutely valid, but often doing them because you feel like you have to for others, or to be accepted or more palatable to others, that isn't going to help. Because as we know from that body image episode last week, leanness or thinness doesn't equal positive or neutral body image by any means. So, a 3-step process if you find yourself comparing your body to others. Number 1 is to check yourself. Number 2 is to ask yourself, what do you have to gain from comparing your body to another person's? And lastly, decide how you're going to deviate from these thoughts. So, how do we shift that mindset and reframe the situation? Couple of different ways and suggestions. Firstly, we can feel the feelings. We can feel and notice the fact that we have started to compare ourselves to someone else. And then we can remind ourselves, we don't need to. Let's crack on. We can also remind ourselves that a summer body is not based on size, shape, or appearance. Every single body is a summer body, regardless of how it looks. And lastly, we can remind ourselves that our worth is not dictated by our body to anyone in this world that matters. No one in your circle, none of your people are pinning your self-worth on your body. And if they are, then they are absolutely not your people. So if you start to think that your body needs to change, question, is it my body that needs to change, or is it actually my mindset and the way that I think about this? Now, this might not always be as straightforward for any trans folk that are pre-top surgery or pre-transition, or maybe mid-transition, and they're currently finding themselves. It's definitely not as easy for trans folk to navigate all the summer body chat, especially when you don't feel like the body you were born in isn't yours to begin with. And I've talked with quite a few of my pre-transition clients this week about what this looks like for them. And often they just want to make sure that they feel comfortable, they can pass if they need to, and that they feel safe. So looking into things like trans swimwear, packers, tucking swimwear, if that makes you feel good, but also remembering that you don't have to not enjoy summer just because you aren't in your authentic body that you've dreamed of yet. And I guess that goes for cis people as well, in a sense. If you're on a journey to get to somewhere, you don't need to not enjoy the hot weather and wearing summer clothes just because you're not there yet. So for all my trans family, if you feel safe and you want to swim topless with no binder, do it. If you want to wear swimwear without tucking and you feel comfortable in your circle, do it. Find those spaces where you can exist a little more freely, like trans swim meetups, trans group summer hangs within your community. There's been a lot of trans camps popping up in the UK now, which is awesome. All sorts of stuff is getting organized to be a nice, inclusive environment. And although that might not be the same as a beach holiday, if it gives you a little bit of freedom to enjoy your body in an environment where you feel safe and not judged, then hell yeah for that. So to finish off the episode today, I want you to think about, how do you want to show up for yourself this summer? Do you want to spend it being self-conscious and focusing on your body? Or do you want to enjoy the sun, make awesome memories with your friends and family, and not feel preoccupied by body image thoughts 24/7? Do you want to dwell on old clothes not fitting? Or do you want to sell and donate those clothes and invest in some stuff that makes you feel awesome, powerful, and cool as fuck? Do you want to continue to compare yourself to the people around you, or maybe people on social media? Or do you just want to own the body that you're in now, regardless of any aesthetic goals that you may have in the future? I would say show up for yourself now, because life is way too short to be worrying about having a specific type of body for the summer. That's the bottom line. Take the power back and change the narrative for yourself, because no one's going to do it for us. Make it happen for yourself and decide how you want to show up for yourself and your body this summer. I hope this has been thought-provoking and given you some prompts to think about how you do want to show up for yourself. And if you've had previous years where you spent a lot of time inside, you've not done things because of fear of how you've been perceived, fear of how your body looks to other people, I want to challenge you to challenge that for yourself this year, because you deserve to be able to enjoy the hotter months how you want to. So have a sick rest of your week. I've got a couple of training sessions left. I'm going for a beer with a friend today, which I'm excited for. And then I'm spending most of my weekend in the studio making music, which I am extra excited for. Take it easy, Cultiv8 family. That is me out. Bye.